Hi everyone, it's Barry from Jerusalem, Nachlaot. I'm giving the Devar Torah on Shemini, Parsha Shemini. Shemini is come from the word 8, Shmone, but Shemin is also the oil of the anointed one, the oil of the Kohen. In other words, the priest. This is the Parsha where on the 8th day Moshe had erected the Mishkan every day, and the sacrifices weren't being answered. He built this edifice and then he put out his sacrifice and it wasn't taken. So it took only upon the 8th day it was received by Aron, his brother, when he took the role as high priest, and as brothers they both had equal duties and responsibility to bring the will of God and the express will of Moses at Sinai to give over to the Jewish people. What was unique is that the idea of purity is found itself in oil. Same thing holds true for Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a time where the Kohen, the high priest, again, later on in Jewish history, in the time of Hanukkah, there was not enough oil for one day, so it lasts 8 days. Right? So here, on the 8th day itself, you see, the 8th day is also symbolic of circumcision. In other words, it revolves around the supernatural. But they were concerned because, this was after the golden calf, and golden calf represented idol worship, and the Jews were to be punished. So now they're trying to reignite the flame. In other words, is God still with us? How come the previous 7 days the sacrifices didn't take light from above, from the heavens? So this is the whole aspect of faith. Whatever it takes, you have to keep trying and trying. You have to have the right intention. And olive oil, the oil used in Hanukkah, and to light the Hanukkah menorah, and the oil, when the temple was, as the Jews were in the land of Israel, was the purest form of oil. And our physical beings have to be in our nature pure like the oil. We have to refine our characters. That's what it's all about. This is what the Omer period is all about. Counting up to 49 days. We're already in the 11th day of the Omer, and we count up to Shavuot, which is the 7th week. 49 days, 7 weeks. Each day has a unique thing to perfect in our character and our personalities. And every week is a certain sphera, or a spiritual emanation, is an energy that is introduced into our personalities to perfect in the day and the week. And at the end of 49 days, the Jews come to the holy mountain, the humble mountain that's Mount Sinai, and receive the Torah. You see? In other words, Nasa, for example, count backwards. We count forward. And proof is in this Parsha Shemini, because what happened was, Aron had 4 sons. The first 2 sons were asked to do the sacrifice. And in their enthusiasm, they somehow didn't have the right intention in their mind. Some sources say perhaps they had something to drink, and that in the end, because their minds weren't pure, they were burnt. And Aron lost his first 2 sons. Can you imagine what it means to lose 2 of your 4 sons? Half your family got wiped out. What was their reaction? No reaction. In other words, the show must go on. This is a unique spirit of Judaism. October 7th, and the korbanot, or the sacrifices of the soldiers and the innocent victims from the evil that exists in Gaza, we're still going on. We're still believing. We still hope. We're in the concept of war right now, and what's happened is we're still building every day. We're building in Israel. Life's moving on. The show must go on. And that's what you have to understand, that even when God gives you something to think about and gives you sorrow, you still have to put your best foot forward and move forward and trust in God. So this Shemini, this 8th day of this Parsha, is really a tiebreaker. It's like the rabbis talk, the Kabbalists talk, that is above, like it's the mid part of the whole 5 books of Moses. This is the third book in the third book of Vayikra. We mentioned that Vayikra has a small aleph. The small aleph indicates Moses' humility, and here we see the humility. Now you see the humility of Aron HaKodesh. He loses both of his sons, and he still doesn't show any emotion. He still moves forward because he has a job to do, and that job is to follow God's lead, because without having a supreme creator to control and to guide us in what is necessary with our intentions and our focus, of course we have feelings, of course we feel bad, but it's how you take these feelings and how you put it forward that you show God that for whatever reason these things happen, we will find an answer. And then we will, once we're unified as a people. But if we start arguing and we start having no unity and we become arrogant, like the power of Mitzrayim, right? This is what our tradition teaches us. It teaches us to be humble. So learn from this event, Shemini, the 8th day, and we should all merit to see peace in the land and everything that's going on in the world. All the hostages returned. You can't return the dead ones, but you have to remove. You can return the dead ones. You can return them. And that's what we're looking for. Also to return the live ones, because they want to be buried in a proper burial, in the proper place. Even though Gaza is probably within the lines of the land of Israel, because it was Israel that actually gave it back to them. And that when they gave the land out 3,000 years ago, the certain tribes had certain areas. I don't know exactly where Gaza fits in it, but the idea was this land is holy. It's so holy that no man or political entity has a right to give it away. It's all described in the 5 books of Moses. And that's why we count between Passover, where we just had, and Shavuot, where we received the Torah, 7 weeks. And then we also have 7 days, and we count the days and the weeks. And then after 49 years, we have the Jubilee year. Well, on these certain things, it all has to do with Jews coming into the land and Jews living in the land. And what happens is, God says, just like on Shabbos, he said, there's 6 days, and on Sabbath you rest. You don't work, you don't light any fires. You just enjoy, because that's the revelation of God. Each week in our lives is through the Sabbath, you see? So here on the Omer, in the Omer, God gives us, he tells us basically it's his land, and he's letting us use as his guardians. But if we don't have unity as brothers, then the land will spit us out, like in the Second Temple period, where Jews were not so respectful, even though they knew the Torah. And this is what happens. It gives strength to Esau, which is a twin brother of Yaakov, when he is going up, when the forces of evil and darkness are going up, then we go down. When we go up, they go down. It's a symbiotic relationship. So this is the idea. Find the balance, find the love, live in the present. Don't let the past drain you, and put your trust in the Creator. And then you'll find true inner strength and happiness to move and do whatever you can each day of your life. Have a good Shabbos, everyone.